You finally do it. You finally say no. You rehearse the text, you rewrite it 4 times, you hit send, and you put your phone face down. But instead of feeling free, you feel like you just committed a crime. You sit there with this heavy, sinking sensation vibrating in your chest. The messages are left unread. You stare at the screen, watching to see if the little typing bubble appears, and when it doesn't, your mind spirals. You start drafting a massive paragraph, an apology you don't even owe. You tell yourself, I just need one night to myself. I just need to catch my breath. But your internal voice is screaming that you are selfish, cold, and a terrible friend. You remember that time you apologized profusely just for being sick and having to cancel lunch. You're trying to protect your own energy, but the guilt is so loud, so physically unbearable, that 10 minutes later, you find yourself double texting to soften the blow, offering an excuse, backpedaling, suggesting a compromise you don't even want to make. And that's the trap. You wanted space to breathe, but you feel suffocated by the fear of how they'll react. You set the boundary to save yourself from burning out, but the resulting anxiety makes you want to abandon yourself all over again, just to make them comfortable. You keep trying to avoid disappointing people, but the uncomfortable truth is that the version of you they love is becoming increasingly fake. They are falling in love with your compliance, not your authentic self. You think this intense guilt means you are doing something wrong. You think it means you are hurting them. But sometimes, guilt is just the withdrawal symptom of abandoning yourself less. Your brain isn't broken. It's actually working exactly as it was designed to. What you are experiencing is often called interpersonal guilt. We are evolutionarily wired to prioritize social cohesion over our own individual comfort, because, historically, being separated from the group was dangerous. When you set a boundary, your attachment system can misinterpret that healthy self-advocacy as a direct threat to the social bond. You aren't just saying no to a favor. To your nervous system, you feel like you are severing a lifeline. For many people, this pattern starts early. If you grew up having to be hyper-attuned to an unpredictable or emotionally unavailable caregiver's moods, you likely developed a deeply ingrained belief that prioritizing your own needs is dangerous to the people you love. Because this was never about the favor. Notice how easy it is to set a boundary with a stranger. You don't lose sleep over telling a salesperson no. But the closer the relationship, the higher the perceived evolutionary stakes. With close friends or family, you take on the impossible responsibility of managing their emotional reaction to your boundary. If they seem slightly annoyed, your heart races. If their text tone shifts from enthusiastic to brief, or they go quiet, you immediately assume the relationship is irreparably ruined. You start scanning their behavior for proof that they hate you. So you negotiate against yourself. You water down your no until it's basically a yes. You offer to do half the work. You promise to make it up to them. You apologize for having limits. You are actively participating in your own suffering. By constantly rushing in to fix their minor disappointment, you are teaching them that your boundaries aren't real. You are proving to them, and to yourself, that your limits are negotiable if they just apply enough silent pressure. You aren't just trying to keep the peace. You are trying to control their perception of you. Because being misunderstood or disliked by someone you care about feels like a physical, existential threat. And the cost of living like this is a quiet, exhausting, invisible burnout. You spend your entire life operating as an emotional shock absorber for everyone around you. You absorb their discomfort, their expectations, and their stress so they never have to feel it, leaving you entirely hollowed out at the end of the day. You start to quietly resent the people you love, not because they are necessarily asking too much of you, but because you are constantly over-functioning for them, and you refuse to let yourself stop. You are running on empty, funding everyone else's comfort with your own peace. And the deepest ache of all? No one even knows you are drowning, because you've made it look so effortless to carry the weight of the world while smiling. Listen to that again. No one knows you are drowning because you make carrying the weight look effortless. You might think this inability to say no is proof of your absolute loyalty, but often it's a learned survival strategy masquerading as kindness. You are using self-abandonment as a currency to buy connection. You hold on to the belief that if you are just useful enough, accommodating enough, and frictionless enough, you will finally be safe from rejection. If setting a basic, healthy boundary makes you feel like a villain in someone else's story, who taught you that your existence is only valuable when you are convenient? But there's a deeper layer to this. The reason you constantly attract people who push these boundaries isn't just bad luck. It's a highly specific behavioral loop you're actively participating in.